In this video, we're going to explore a work of mine called Way of the Warrior. It's permanently installed here at Adelaide Oval, and it's a collaboration with designer James Coulter. The work was commissioned by Adelaide Oval to accompany their tours, which happen here daily. And what James and I tried to do was recreate the experience of players running out onto the ground in front of 54,000 fans. So here we are inside the player race. What's really interesting about the installation in here is that I'm actually surrounded by a whole lot of different technologies that are used to create the kind of audio and spatial effects of the work. So in the walls of this first part of the race that you can see around me, there's actually 10 speakers mounted, and they're actually completely hidden from the audience. The way that we achieve that is actually, there's special speakers, they're covered by an acoustically transparent membrane, and then they're kind of mudded into the wall and painted. So they actually become completely invisible to the audience. And think about the effect of the work. That was really important as the audience comes into the space, basically they look around for speakers because they can hear the sound of the crowd. They look for speakers, but almost immediately they realise there are no speakers, and so pretty much from then on throughout the installation they forget speakers are there. And that's important for later in the installation, where in the last section of the player race you can actually see the speakers, but by then the audience ignores them. So up ahead of me here you can see there's a small set of cricket stumps on the ground, and when I actually stand here I'm actually standing directly under what's called an audio spotlight. These are made by a company called MusonicX, and you can see they're covered up by some mesh. Basically, what these audio spotlights do is actually create a beam of sound which is roughly as wide as that mesh. And so pretty much when I stand right here, I can hear sound that actually no one around me can actually hear. And the effect of that is that it sounds like someone actually speaking to me inside my head. It's a pretty interesting phenomena. We also have another one of these paddles you can see back behind me just by the doors as you come in. So as sort of the audience walks into the space, they get a little snippet of that before they get down to this section as well. And the panel back there also has some quite strange sort of reflective effects around the space. So one of the interesting things about mixing for these panels is that they are very much like a laser pointer. So you can actually imagine, if my walls were mirrors and I pointed a laser pointer at the wall, it would bounce around inside the space. The sound of these actually behaves like that in the space, which is quite a strange phenomenon. And if you think about mixing, not what we'd normally be used to. As I walk further into the installation, down along here, you can see at the end here we have the equipment box, and basically it houses all the electronics to run the installation. So in here, there's a computer, a sound card that does, the 18 channels of audio, there's digital analog converters, and there's amps as well. And so basically my role, not just composing the work, but my role also involved, designing the hardware for this, and also writing the software that actually runs the whole installation, so that guides can trigger it, and then, as we move through the work, and then it resets itself at the end of a tour. So as we head up now towards the playing surface, what you'll see in the last section of the installation here is 6 speakers in this last array. Here, unlike the earlier section, you can see that we can see them, but as I mentioned earlier, by the time the audience gets to here, they've actually sort of forgotten that there are speakers, so they don't really take much notice of them. These are outdoor speakers. Water does get into this section because it's where we actually go up onto the ground, and so they're basically outdoor speakers that are waterproof, so if they do get wet, it's really not a problem. So as we come up to the playing surface here, there's a final 2 speakers that are mounted out on the edge of the grandstand, and these actually give the audience, as they come up to the playing surface, that last sense of the crowd. They actually get a big roar as they come up the race and onto the playing surface. So probably my favourite part of the installation is as you come up onto the playing surface, the crowd actually gives you a huge roar out of the speakers, and it draws your attention. You look around and you half expect that the crowd's actually there, but the stands are all empty. So that's really part of the magic. And it really gives you that sense of what it must be like as the players come out onto the ground, the crowd's there, and it just, it really makes your hair stand up on the back of your neck. So hopefully that's given you some insights into what was involved in making our installation Way of the Warrior here at the Adelaide Oval.